Hi and welcome to WorldTowning 101. Today we're going to be chatting with another traveling family,
TravelingMel,
who's also on YouTube. They've been around Europe for the last 6 months and they have another 6 months to go, and they've been staying in one place each month, similar to the style that we were looking at.
Sounds familiar, right?
Let's check out the conversation.
It's really cool. Do it one more time.
Okay. In France, do you guys want to give us a little bit of an intro?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
I do.
All right.
So we're from Montana originally, and we decided to sell our house, sell our car, and travel in Europe for a year. And it wasn't a huge change for us because we were already working at home and homeschooling and traveling a lot within the US, but this was just taking it a little bit bigger.
So was it hard to convince you to go, or were you on board? Or
no, it was. Whose idea was it?
She's, well, in 2011 we had this plan to buy an RV of some sort.
I want to know what you were going to say. She's what?
I don't
hot.
know.
Hot.
Totally
Oh,
hot.
right.
I mean, isn't that the word that comes to mind, right?
In 2011 we were going to do an RV thing. The economy was not working in our favor, so we started doing some other things. And we were working really hard, and what I was about to say was she's always up for just about any kind of adventure, any kind of excitement.
And that seems to be what we hear from a lot of people. That's our story as well. We needed something different, an adventure, and we wanted to expose our kids to different parts of the world and different people, and maybe it's the midlife crisis.
It's
I don't
totally,
know.
It's
Totally.
totally midlife.
So then this having more or wanting more, but means traveling the world, which means actually having less, because you guys had to strip down just about everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
everything.
well, we left a few items on for modesty's
We won't
sake.
mention what.
Yeah, but that was also like a great excuse to get rid of stuff because
Right, it's therapeutic, right?
oh my gosh, there's
It's
nothing
addictive.
more. I don't love anything more except for hiking and mountains and my kids than getting rid
Henry.
and Henry, of course.
Of course.
Then like
We
getting
understand that.
rid of stuff, like stuff.
Did you
and
have
it
a lot
was
of stuff?
So wonderful.
Like, would you consider yourself pack rats, or you pretty much minimalist
No,
to begin with?
not compared to our friends. We had a lot less than a lot of our friends, but we still had more than we wanted.
So then how do you then, once you transitioned into this life, preparing for it, how did you adjust the workflow and you know, getting yourself to become a digital nomad, or were you already at that state?
But I spent at least a year getting my business side of things arranged so that I could hopefully have a bit of a passive income, rejiggering my gear, that I could, you know, be more portable. I was a filmmaker.
Well, it changed a little more than I thought. I was doing social media for a conservation organization, and I thought I would keep doing that on the road, and they didn't want to do that. So I've just taken more freelance writing and things like that.
The reason they didn't want to, was it because you were local and had local meetings with them and they couldn't vision, or was it just other stuff?
It was time differences. They thought the time difference wouldn't work. I think they were also reconfiguring their...
Right.
But it really you sort of never know how much work it's going to
Yes.
be, and how much research it's going to be, and how much unknown there is.
But would you say really it was like the last 3 or 4 months that were the really
Yes.
heavy?
Intense.
And I personally barely did anything before that.
So then talking about
Stressful.
education, that must have been, since you're already in a self-sufficient environment, was that an easy transition, or did you just seamlessly walk in, or was there sort of an adjustment period?
For me, and I think for the kids, it was pretty seamless. For Henry, you know, he stepped in, like he wasn't involved before.
Right.
I mean, he was involved, but not super, not like every day involved.
I
No,
was in
we
the
can-
office for, you know,
We can
10
totally
hours.
relate. That was our
Yeah.
situation as well.
So
And he had to get like the cliff notes real quick,
Right.
right? This is what, you know?
Right. So I think it was a bigger transition for him than for me or for the kids.
And with your schooling, not much has changed, would you say? I mean, besides the environment, your style is still the same.
Our style is still the same. Yep. Our subject matter obviously is changing
Right,
because
right.
now it's so European centric, and
Right.
it's, you know, when
What
you're
a great education
in first
to get.
person.
I know.
You know,
and
it's
first
like
person, right?
Right,
there's,
right.
opportunities
So-
every day.
Yeah.
Right,
So
the
when-
history. Whew.
Yeah, you're in Croatia, you're studying like the former Yugoslavia, and when you're in Scotland, you're talking about Celts and Picts and castles, and so those
So
things
cool.
have changed, but the stuff.
So do you feel like now that you're doing this with the unschooling and working and everything that you're kind of taking in, do you feel like a month is a long enough time in the places you're in?
I feel like because we need to have so many days where we just work, that sometimes a month just doesn't feel long enough because
Yeah.
I went into this, I think we went into it differently. I went into it thinking, this is just going to be like life. We're going to like work most days, then we'll go out and we'll walk around, and like now we're here in it, and we have this total FOMO, right? Like we don't want to miss out on anything.
No, we can totally relate.
And it's like,
we can
oh my gosh,
totally
well,
relate.
we started in Florence, Italy was our first stop. So it's like, well, we got to go to all these museums, and we need to go to this palace, and these, you know, there was so much stuff to see, and it's like I might never go back there. I don't know. I might, but it, you know, so it's just trying to figure out, like, do we go out and do stuff every day, which we can't really afford to do anyway, or do we work, or, you know, so it's both.
It's like trying to find the balance.
It's not enough time, but it's, yeah, but I mean, it's like you're still living life, so
kids are still fighting.
You can't just like play all day
happens.
anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. You can't just play all day. And the times we do that, like if when we're in a city or something, maybe we'll have like 5 intense days of doing things. Like 2 days in, we're kind of like, oh my God, I need a break, you know?
Well,
and
but
then
sometimes it's almost like a full-time job, too.
See, but that's the cool part about being able to slow travel. I mean, you get the chance to not feel like you have to rush and see everything and knock everything off the list, because your list is just living.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that was I felt like that was a bit of a challenge with us when we first left and went to Costa Rica, because we felt that kind of, well, we may never be back here again. So that pressure to do it, and we were almost, even though we were still working, we were kind of almost in our mindset was vacation mode.
Yes,
right? And we were trying to see everything and work, and it just about killed us. I mean, we were exhausted from it, so we had to kind of reevaluate. And we don't really go on too many vacations that are just vacation nowadays, but when we do, we've kind of transitioned that approach over to our vacations too, whereas before we try to see everything because we only got 2 weeks a year, you know?
Right.
Okay, let's talk about the kids. Were they okay with this in the beginning?
Were they excited?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially Anders. He was a geography nut for a year or two before we ever took off. Like,
so they've been traveling since they were, you know, this.
So it's part of their normal.
Since they were this big.
Yeah.
And so they're pretty just flexible. And
so you didn't have to talk it up or kind of encourage them or say this is going to happen. That's really great.
I don't think so.
Now that they're here, how was the first couple of months or month or weeks of transition in comparison to how it is now?
Mm-hmm.
I think Finn, our younger son's getting a little homesick about halfway through, but I think he misses it, but he still has a good attitude.
Right.
It's like he
Well,
goes.
we
with
get
it.
that as well. I mean, we get more so with food.
We get that with food, and our kids go through stages where there's a week, like Largo, now they're pretty much kind of transitioned and this is their new normal.
Right.
However, Largo really misses my parents a lot. He misses snow. Avalon misses some friends from the States from time to, she does miss them. But then she'll miss friends from Costa Rica and friends from Ecuador, and she's saying she's gonna miss her friends from here. So unfortunately, with our lifestyle choice, we're always gonna be missing people, you're right, wherever we go.
So what have you seen as far as then the change in them, and the kids? Because now they're on their own, right? They're with themselves. So are they closer with a bond?
They've always been really close.
They are like the best friends.
And they've sort of developed new interests. Finn's very much into World War II history right now. Anders is starting to get into this Bronze Age type of history. And so that's, they're seeing all this stuff first person is pretty inspirational.
Right. Okay, anything, I never like to focus on the negative, but one thing you'd do different if you had it to do over again? Because I think it can always be helpful to people watching it.
Be richer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well,
have you figured out how to do that?
We didn't really plan very far ahead. We booked a place in Florence for a month, but we didn't know it.
Because I know some people that I've chatted with online and stuff, they're like they have to plan out the whole year because they just need that for their personal comfort level. Are you guys kind of like that?
Uncomfortable because you're locked in.
You're locked in.
And one of the things I've noticed that for us is that we packed way too much, and I don't know if you felt the same way, because ultimately you buy more once you get there, so then you wind up lugging the stuff you brought.
I don't think we overpacked too much. We had to buy some clothes in Croatia for winter, some jackets and snow pants and stuff, and then we left them somewhere else. But we don't look cute, it's like when we're in Paris, we're gonna be such dirtbag Americans. We have.
You show me someone that looks cute and they're good doing what you're doing, I think they have a porter or something. How could you do that, right?
Well, and we don't look cute at home either, so it doesn't matter.
But you guys film well.
It's
so
not
that's
a prerequisite to this lifestyle to look cute, right? Or be clean or anything.
Right.
So you've been doing this for 6 months. Do you have any tips? Anything you've learned along the way? Insight, it can be grind or it can be small.
So we've primarily been going via Airbnb and VRBO, vacation rental by owner. And number one thing, which you'll quickly find online, is that if you go for 30 days or more, you often get a very steep discount. And especially if you're off season, you can contact those people directly and often get a negotiated even lower
So
rate.
a deeper discount.
We ask for a discount, or at least I do when I make the reservations. Every single time I ask for a discount.
And how often do they
Because-
give it?
Almost every single time.
Just a warning, the gamut of cookware that you get at any given time and dishes
Yeah.
it's wide. So the place we're in right now has a pretty good supply of cookware and dishes. One of the places we stayed in had one knife that wasn't very good. We've had to buy our own pans, our own drying racks, that sort of
Right.
thing. And mostly we just make do. So, don't be afraid to ask about that. And I would also, if you do have a problem with something breaks or there isn't something or something that's really bothering you, contact the host because it's in their interest to fix it. And you don't want it to get to the point of bad reviews.
And you haven't had a problem with anyone refusing to fix something.
We haven't really had a whole lot to
No,
fix.
And we haven't really asked. I mean,
We haven't had
we try to
anything
be
worth
pretty adaptable.
Any other tips?
Mine is to don't travel on the weekends if you can avoid it. Like, so many things are closed on Sunday, and we usually, we get in and it's late afternoon or early evening, and then you have to go buy groceries for dinner. And so even on Saturdays, things close early, and Sundays in a lot of places things are closed. So we just try to travel during the week as much as we can. And if we aren't, then like stick a bag of noodles and some tomatoes or something in your bag, so at least you can have dinner when you get there.
That's a great tip. I mean, I honestly wouldn't have thought about that, and that's happened to us, or we've come back in town on a Sunday and we're like,
Right.
no food,
Right.
So that is a great tip.
When you have kids,
Yeah.
that's not an option.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Now, we've talked about your work and making reference, and you're a filmmaker, but we haven't really talked about what you're doing per se on the road now specifically. Do you want to talk about that and
Sure.
share with everyone so if they want to check you out?
So we have, we sort of started our Instagram channels each, TravelingMel and Traveling Filmmaker, and have been learning that.
That's TravelingMel MT.
The TravelingMel MT. I'm just traveling. We've been learning that,
Someone took
growing
my
that
name.
audience. We've been expanding our YouTube channel. And
Traveling Mel on YouTube, go
Yep.
check them out. And then the go-go dancer thing, is that still happening?
well, that's on a commission. That's on a contract basis.
Oh, okay. That's when they fly you to those exotic places in
Exactly.
Europe, right? And
I have the blog, travelingmel.com. I also have another website called YellowstoneTrips.com where I sell itineraries for Yellowstone, and I do this private vacation coaching where I write people's Yellowstone itineraries,
that's cool.
which I need to do some more of tonight. And then I freelance write, and I write for, I'm a contributing editor for Outside Families magazine, and I write for some of the Montana publications that I was writing for, and just other freelance stuff.
So are we in love? Do we want to go Airbnb Europe, Africa, Mexico? Are they not the coolest family?
What we realized is through their journey, through their lifestyle choices, that it's possible to spend 1 month at each location. And what I really liked about it was that they didn't really have it planned 100% all the way through.
Yeah, they just kind of let it organically unfold. I think they said they had the first month planned. Was that it?
And then they just kept on going from there. So this just gives you another viewpoint into how travel can make life a little bit differently for yourself and for your family.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different options. And hey, we may end up doing the Airbnb after the RV. You never know.
Day. But in the meantime, make sure you check out next time's WorldTowning, where we're going to learn something else about travel. But subscribe, give this a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time on WorldTowning
101.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the least I've ever talked about these things. It's awesome.
Sorry, we're just like,
No, it's really nice because Will and I are always talking. It's so nice to have a little break. We should do this every week.
I know.
I'm on camera. I gotta look like I'm engaged.
Yeah, because otherwise it's gonna go in the blooper.
Okay.
You want to do one more just in case?
This is what happened. This is why I have so much to edit.
Well, do you ever do?
I thought he nailed it.
Okay, good. Okay.
So did I, by the
Okay.
way.
I think he nailed it too, but then he watches it and he goes, we should have taken two.